Welcome back to Morning Brew with Homeowners. I'm your host, Dmitry Lipinski. Today, we're back to normal programming, helping as many homeowners as we possibly and physically can, answering your questions. I have full studio today with me, updated studio. I have Sam Cook from St. Paul. I have Mike Holmes from St. Minneapolis, and I have Adam Sand all the way from Canada. Today, we are answering homeowners' questions about bad reviews, change orders, chimneys, and insurance claims. So let's get into it. The first one is the question about should I give my roofer another chance before posting a review? Love this question because it's very common. People usually towards the end of the project when they have a dispute, sometimes they're too early to start bashing contractor online. In my experience, never goes well. But this story is a little bit different. I have a few issues with how new roof installation was handled. I mentioned them to my sales rep, my only contact, who took note and agreed to have them looked at. My mistake was thinking that was good enough. I signed off on installation without writing down the issues in the space provided to me. I wrote a 2-star review that I haven't posted yet. It's a long and overall summed up with a roofer will give you a roof and just a roof. I'm thinking of emailing the review to the sales rep and asking, is there anything you want to debate or do before I post this? It's been just over 2 months since the roof was finished and none of my concerns have been discussed. They also blew the deadline to send me a closing permit and I needed to send it to my insurance company. I feel sending the review is probably overly antagonistic, but I don't believe that they would do anything if I didn't follow up like this. Suggestions are welcome. What do you guys think?
I think that number one, most times reviews are earned. Is a review is a sign of your reputation. I think that it's earned. But I also I appreciate that she's thoughtful. That's what I value out of this. I like a homeowner that actually is not hardcore on just being driving the nail in the coffin. She's like, hey, I even give you a chance to talk beforehand. So she seems to be being very reasonable. I have done a bad review with a company before, and I've essentially used it for leverage. And once they fixed the issue, we talked about it. I removed it because I don't want them to lose business because you don't know how long that review can be there and how much that can cost them in the future. But if it's something that's really bad and they really earned it, then you earned it.
What were the issues? What were the issues with the roof? Was it one shingle was slightly spaced wrong? Was it the rake wasn't perfectly straight where they trimmed them?
Reading this, I probably would say the roof probably was okay somewhat. It's probably a communication issue, maybe something around, maybe cleanup. I mean, if they did not close the permit right away, those kind of things. So I think, it's the details that most people don't like communication problems, scheduling, maybe garbage was there too long, maybe who knows? First of all, I love the fact she did 2-star, not 1-star. But she comes up as a reasonable person, right? Like she's like, hey, talk to me here, let's fix it. And in my opinion, those people are easy to please. Just come back, communicate. And I feel like the sales rep thought he will get away with it. And
I would say that's part of it too, is like when you're the only person you talk to at the company is the sales rep. Like that sales rep is focused on getting sales because that's all the KPIs that are being tracked for them. That is what their boss is yelling at them to do, is go get more leads, go get more deals. So it's like once you've paid, you kind of lose all the leverage with them. Once that sales rep gets their commission, you don't have anything to get them to do it, right? So she's right, without writing on the list, should have filled in the space provided with those issues. But I would ask, if I was her, I'd be asking for, contact for a production manager or someone in the production side or management there to be able to actually help and,
And
do something
that
about
2-star does hurt way worse than a 1-star. A 1-star could just be an irate person, but 2-star was thought about. That was precise. That one hurt.
I do appreciate that she did it. As far as most upset customers go, I think Dimitri's right. This is a solvable problem. I am assuming at this point she has reached out to other people in the company, and I would love to see the issues. But I think that her question is, should I give my roofer another chance? And I think this is his other chance. Like, you've had these chances. Now I'm going to make my review public. And like Mike said, it's leverage. And she's reasonable because you get those people who are like, I wish I could give this company 0 stars. Those people, sometimes you just can't make them happy. But she's wanting to say, hey, I got something, but you didn't meet or exceed my expectations. And that's a fair review. And if it stays up forever, it stays up forever. But I think that it will probably incite the owner to action.
I want to address my contractors who are watching our show too. A lot of contractors don't understand this, but you can never over communicate with the homeowners, and a lot of contractors are taking for granted those checks. And this is free advice to all the contractors. I'll give you a reason why you actually don't get reviews at the end of the job. If you're a salesperson like this one. So if you're the salesperson at the beginning, you probably will say anything to get the job. You're pursuing that homeowner, you're following up, 5, 10 times. Now you get a sale. And a lot of times sales reps disappear once project starts, and then they reappear again to collect the payment. And then what they do, they collect the payment and they ask for a review. Well, here's the problem. In homeowners' mind, the roofing is a very high-end ticket, big ticket item, right? So if someone gives you $20,000 and they feel like you did not earn it, you did not go extra mile, you did not please it, you were not there, right? You collected the check, you came up to get a check, your payment is $20,000, not a review. Now, if you, went extra mile, was there on top of time, on top of the project, the whole time, and then at the end, you're asking, you're always going to get that review. So people don't like middlemen who don't do anything, who just collects the payments. And that's the reason most people don't write reviews when they ask to, because they think like you don't deserve it. If you go even to a nice restaurant and sometimes they even will put like gratuity, 20% in a check. People will pay extra on top of it. But if you already have been charged 20% and your server was rude to you or just bare minimum, you're never going to go extra mile to give them that review. You have to be exceptional.
Something I've said in the past is show me the incentive, I'll show you the outcome. And this is to speak to the contractors. Like if you are seeing this trend or seeing this happening in your business, if all you're promoting and you're pushing your sales reps to do is to get more deals and sign more contracts, which most are, and you're doing nothing to incentivize them getting 5-star reviews, nothing to incentivize them how quick they get the jobs closed on the back end or get issues resolved, you're asking for it, right? And I see that all the time. Like we work with a ton of different contractors, and so many of them I met with one a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, well, what KPIs do you track? Like what are the key performance metrics you track for your team on their performance? They're like, oh, how many doors they knock and how many contracts they signed. And I'm like, okay, what about the 30 other things that they're responsible for, right? And so if you don't put an incentive there, it's not going to happen. And I think it's actually more of a core issue in the business of them focusing on the front end that leads to it.
I like what Mike said earlier, and I actually would give this homeowner advice because the question was, should I give a roofer another chance before posting a review? If you want more leverage, do what Mike does. Post the review and say, I'll remove it once it's done. Because it's
do what the scammers do, but for real.
Yeah, but the question, would it be considered as a blackmail because you're trying to get well, you're not trying to get money out of it.
It's like extortion, right?
Hey, they're
It is straight up extortion, but it's real, so it's not liable.
They're telling their truth in the moment, and their truth was their service, and it can change.
I'm just gonna leave it here, and then later, if you don't take care of it, it's just
right. What about this? Should bad reviews have an expiration? Because it's kind of like a permanent scarlet letter. What if you just got started in business, and then you had a bad review when you first got started?
Good reviews to expire after a certain time?
No, just the bad ones.
Okay, well then I don't think that works, right? Like you can't have
like, I've changed, I swear.
Yeah.
I think that it's good to have the record, and homeowners look at that. They sort by the newest. They have sorting criteria for a reason. So I think it's a good thing that they don't expire.
I think I had a bad review one time from this lady. It was a couple in Savage, and we did their siding. The husband was great. The wife gave us a bad review, and I called the husband. I was like, What's going on? I thought you were happy. He was like, the wife didn't like how long it took. I was like, but you were involved and you knew why, and it was because of the insurance company. He goes, but it's kind of true. So it's kind of tough. Reviews are difficult sometimes. There's a plus and a minus to reviews because you can get, everybody's seeing like Adam just brought up, there is a wave of people going through using reviews as scams you've covered before. And, you can have ex-girlfriends in competition, so.
But those most platforms will help you remove them because reviews from ex-employees, competitors, they violate most policies. Great start of the show. We have 4 more questions we're going to try to get to when we come back. We're going to take a break. get another coffee going, and don't go anywhere.